Harry Potter was last seen fighting Lord Voldemort, but this time he became so dangerous that police locks him up in the highest guarded facility.
Hey! No one forced you to traitor your country and your race.
But the apprehension of police was right. No jail could curtail him.
A terrorist gang of dirty black Rottweilers.
And this he escapes the prison to commit unthinkable crime on that particular day.
And the nightly panic attacks grew more vicious as the days went on.
Welcome back to Paramount Recaps. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me.
That's not what we need right now.
Guys, just try them both. The story set in South Africa during the late 1940s, a time when the government forced a harsh racial segregation policy known as apartheid. After enduring years of oppression, they finally had enough and formed a movement called the African National Party AMP, with the goal of ending racial discrimination and restoring peace in the country. The movie opens with Tim Jenkin, a white activist for the ANC, heading into a bustling market carrying two large bags. He strategically places one bag near a trash can and the other by a car before signaling his partner, Stephen Lee, to begin their plan. The bags are packed with explosives meant for a dramatic demonstration. As they connect the wires, two explosions occur. But instead of causing harm, they disperse hundreds of leaflets throughout the market, spreading anti-apartheid propaganda. Jenkin and Lee attempt to flee, but are quickly apprehended by the police. While awaiting his trial, Jenkin's wife secretly visits him, giving him some money for his time in prison and vowing to support him no matter what. Before she leaves, Jenkin hides the money in a cigar case and conceals it inside himself, bracing for his upcoming imprisonment. At the court hearing, the judge tears into Jenkin and Lee for apparently betraying their race. As a result, Jenkin gets slapped with a 12-year prison sentence for making the bombs, while Lee, being his accomplice, gets 8 years. The next scene shows the two being taken to the infamous Pretoria prison, a place meant specifically for white criminals. The warden greets them at the entrance and immediately brands them as traitors. He then hands them over to a tough prison officer named Meneer, who lays down the law as soon as they step inside, as Jenkin and his friends are shown to their cells. Jenkin observes the high security features of the prison, including automatic grill doors and multiple barred gates. Realizing that escaping will be a significant challenge, that night, he struggles with sleeplessness as he contemplates their situation. The next morning, during breakfast, Jenkin meets Dennis Goldberg, a senior political activist serving 4 life sentences for protesting apartheid. They chat about their circumstances, and soon after, Lee joins the conversation. Meanwhile, Leonard, a French-Australian prisoner, eavesdrops on their discussion. During exercise time, Dennis briefs Jenkin and Lee on the prison's security: 32-foot-high walls, pervasive searchlights, razor-sharp barbed fences, and snipers make escape nearly impossible. He warns that many have tried and failed. After Dennis leaves, Leonard approaches with an offer to help, suggesting that Dennis discourages escape attempts but believes it's possible. Leonard wants to be included in their plan. Later, Jenkins secretly hands Dennis a cigar case filled with money, which Dennis hides inside a toothpaste tube for safekeeping. Days pass, and life starts to settle into a routine for the boys. One night, in his cell, Jenkins lights a matchstick and peers through the keyhole in the grill gate, trying to find any weaknesses. He becomes obsessed with figuring out a way out. Then, one night, an idea strikes him. He uses a piece of paper to measure the depth and length of the keyhole and plans to carve a makeshift key out of wood. The next day, during a shower, he shares his idea with his partners in crime. Leonard is skeptical, thinking it won't work, but Jenkin and Lee are determined to give it a shot. Jenkin proposes that he can get the wood from the workshop, but first, he needs to study the original keys. Later, in a canteen, the group puts their plan into motion. Leonard causes a distraction, allowing Jenkin to get a good look at the shape of the keys when Meneer comes to check. From that day on, Jenkin seizes every opportunity to observe the keys, whether in the yard or during morning roll call. After days of careful observation, he manages to sketch out a rough draft. On the 74th day, Jenkins sneaks some sandpaper and wood from the workshop, hiding them inside his coffee thermos, which he then stuffs with clothes to keep the contents from rattling. Later, Meneer checks the thermoses one by one to see if anyone's stolen anything. When it's Jenkins' turn, he freezes, but Meneer doesn't find anything suspicious and lets him go. Feeling relieved, Jenkins rushes back to his cell and starts working on his prototype. After chiseling, cutting, and sanding the wood, he successfully creates a key. Excited, he tries it on the door, and it works. However, his joy fades when he finds that the metal gate on the other side doesn't have a keyhole, so he needs a solution to open it from the other end. The next morning, Jenkins updates his friends depends on the need for another key and a plan to open the second gate from the outside. Leonard, thrilled with their progress, agrees to help. Over the next few days, they closely examine the keyhole of the outdoor door, and Jenkins sketches a rough diagram. After weeks of hard work, he successfully creates a new wooden key. On the 100th day, while mopping the hallway with no guards in sight, Jenkins seizes the opportunity to test the new key. It's not as smooth as the first one, so he chisels it to improve the fit. The key works, and the door opens, bringing joy to the group. However, when Jenkins tries to remove the key, it breaks. Panic ensues as a guard approaches. Jenkins struggles to close the lock, but fails. In the end, he only manages to retrieve the broken piece just before the large guard arrives. Later, after all the prisoners return to their cells, Munir comes by for a routine checkup. He notices Jenkins' door lock sticking out, but doesn't think much of it and simply closes the door. Inside, Jenkins breathes a sigh of relief. On the 142nd day, the three gather in a room to discuss how to open the metal gate from the outside. Leonard suggests using a string, but the others quickly dismiss the idea, saying it wouldn't work. After a while, Lee spots a broom and gets an idea. He takes it outside and measures the distance from the window to the door, finding that it's just a few inches short. The next day, while working in the workshop, Jenkins spots a sewing machine and gets an idea. He rushes back to his cell and creates a similar mechanism, attaching it to a broom. That night, he places the wooden key on top of the broom and successfully unlocks the gate. However, when trying to retrieve the key, it slips and falls. Panicked, Jenkins uses chewing gum on the broom to pick up the key and get it back to his cell. The next morning, he excitedly shares with his friends that he managed to unlock both gates and is keen to explore other areas of the prison. Dennis, still wary, advises him to reconsider, but Jenkins is determined to proceed. By day 206, new walls have been erected around the prison, but the routine remains the same. Jenkins and his friends continue to inspect their surroundings whenever possible. Jenkins also strikes a deal with the janitor, trading soaps and cigarettes for a construction map of the prison, successfully completing the exchange at the dumpsters without being noticed. On day 296, Jenkins and Leonard create dummies in their beds and sneak out of their cells at night. They carefully descend the stairs to another grill gate. Jenkins chooses this night because the giant guard on duty is slow and lazy. Despite their nerves and profuse sweating, they manage to open the gate just as the guard begins his patrol. Hearing his footsteps, they hide in a storeroom and barely manage to keep the door shut. Once the guard moves on, they continue with their escape plan. Jenkins opens another door, but before he can tackle the next one, Lee coughs upstairs, signaling that the giant guard has finished his patrol. Jenkins and Leonard quickly hide in the storeroom again. On his way back, the guard notices droplets of sweat on the floor, but doesn't think much of it. After he leaves, the boys head back upstairs. Inside his cell, Jenkins is thrilled and dismantles his keys into several pieces, hiding them inside his cup before going to sleep, hopeful that he'll soon escape and reunite with his wife. The next morning, the warden storms into Jenkins' cell and wakes him up. Jenkins had overslept, missing the morning alarm. Furious, the warden demands to know why, but all Jenkins can do is apologize. The warden orders a thorough search of the cell. During the search, the cup on the shelf gets knocked over, spilling out all the wooden key parts. The warden picks one up and angrily asks what it is. Jenkins, frozen in fear, nervously claims it's a photo holder. Surprisingly, the warden buys it and leaves, but not before warning Jenkins to be more careful. That night, Jenkins has a panic attack, making it tough for him to sleep. However, he reflects that every difficult situation teaches something new. Starting the next morning, Jenkins begins hiding keys in various locations around the prison, such as the library, the canteen, and even the dumpster. He and his friends also manage to steal civilian clothes from the laundry. Meanwhile, Jenkins neglects his personal hygiene to contract an infection. A few weeks later, when he gets the infection and is taken to the doctor by Munir, he uses the opportunity to inspect the automatic gate. On Christmas Eve, Jenkins and his group finalize their escape plan and reveal it to Dennis and his friends. They have prepared 39 keys for the 15 doors they need to pass through. Despite their meticulous planning, Dennis chooses not to join them, arguing that even if they escape, they will have nowhere to go. He returns Jenkins' money, hidden inside a toothpaste roll. Later, the warden conducts a thorough inspection of all cells, including Jenkins, but finds nothing. That evening, after all the officers have left, Jenkins, Leonard, and Lee set their escape plan into motion. Before they leave the hallway, Jenkins asks Dennis one last time if he wants to join them, but Dennis declines again. The boys gather all the hidden keys from various locations in the prison, dress in their stolen civilian clothes, and head downstairs. They suddenly hear the giant guard approaching. They quickly hide in the storeroom, trembling in fear as they hold the door shut. The guard notices the door shaking, but is distracted when the power goes out, a result of Dennis causing a short circuit by destroying his light bulb. Dennis and the others call out for the guard to draw his attention away, and the plan works. The guard reluctantly heads upstairs, allowing Jenkins, Leonard, and Lee to escape the storeroom and continue their mission. With determination and teamwork, they manage to unlock and pass through each door, inching closer to freedom. When they reach the automatic gate, Leonard swiftly goes to the admin room and successfully opens it by pressing a button. Everything is going as planned, and they finally reach the last door, the one that separates them from freedom. But to their horror, none of the keys work. Panic sets in. Months of planning and hard work seem to have been ruined by a single lock. Jenkins suggests they go back to their cells, but Leonard isn't ready to give up. He pulls out his chisel and starts pounding on the door lock. The noise terrifies Jenkins, who fears they'll be caught, but to his relief, the plan works. Leonard breaks the lock, and the door finally opens. The final obstacle is the sniper in the tower, but dressed in civilian clothes. Jenkins, Leonard, and Lee walk confidently out of the prison. They blend in seamlessly, even avoiding suspicion from Munir, who is preoccupied with a conversation nearby. Once they reach a safe location, they run to the city, catch a cab, and ask the driver to take them to the border. Although the driver hesitates due to their race, Jenkins' cash persuades him. With this, Jenkins, Leonard, and Lee finally escape after a year and a half of captivity. The next morning, Munir discovers the escape and raises the alarm, but it's too late. As he wanders around helplessly, Dennis and the others share a laugh over the successful break. In the aftermath, the largest manhunt in South African history fails to capture the fugitive. They cross into Mozambique, then Tanzania, and finally reach London, where they rejoin the Inc. and continue their protest against apartheid. In 1991, after more than a decade, they are pardoned. Dennis is exonerated in 1985 and reunites with his family. Unfortunately, Jenkins never sees his wife again. By the time he returns to South Africa, she has passed away. In 1992, apartheid falls, and in 1994, Nelson Mandela, the Inc. leader, is elected president of South Africa.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the channel out. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below with your suggestions for future videos, any questions you have, or just to say hi. Your feedback is super important to us and helps us create better content for you. Also, feel free to share this video with your friends, family, and on social media. It really makes a big difference and helps our community grow. You can follow us on Insert your social media handles for more updates and behind-the-scenes content. Thanks again for your support, and we'll see you in the next video.